Ticks do not jump or fly. They're generally found in brushy or wooded areas near the ground. They rest on tips of tall grasses or shrubs, waiting for a host to pass by. When this happens, they climb onto the hosts that brush against them. They can feed on mammals, birds, reptiles, and amphibians, but have different preferred host animals at different stages of their life cycle. There are two major types of ticks, soft ticks on the left and hard ticks on the right. They're quite different morphologically, and it is fairly easy to tell them apart. This figure shows the underside of two types of ticks and how the mouthparts vary in their location so that when you look at them from above, you can see the mouthparts of the hard ticks, which stick out from the top of their heads, whereas the mouthparts of the soft tick are not visible. Hard ticks also have decorative shields, some of which have stripes or a spot, while soft ticks don't have this feature. The life cycle of Ixodes scapularis ticks generally lasts 2 years. During this time, they go through 4 life stages: the egg, larvae, nymph, and adult. After the eggs hatch, the ticks must have a blood meal at every stage to survive. Black-legged ticks can feed from mammals, birds, reptiles, and amphibians. The ticks need a new host at each stage of their life cycle. Because the tick life cycle is fairly long and complicated with several different hosts, let's look at it in greater detail. In the spring of the first year, eggs that are laid by females hatch, and larvae emerge with only 3 pairs of legs. At this stage, they feed on small animals such as birds and mice. It takes a year for them to mature into nymphs, which feed on larger mammals such as deer and humans. In the fall of the second year, nymphs develop into mature adults and are able to reproduce. The picture on the right shows ticks at different stages of their life cycle. It is better to view unfed ticks as they give a more accurate picture of the size difference between the various stages. The larva is very small and fits into the 0 of the 10 on a Canadian 10-cent coin. The nymph is about twice the size of the larva, and the adult male about twice the size of the nymph. The adult female is the largest of all and is slightly larger than the adult male. Because ticks are resistant to cold, they can be found in both tropical and temperate parts of the world, as well as higher altitudes in mountainous regions. However, only certain types of ticks are found in certain regions, so that restricts the types of diseases they transmit, and knowledge of their geographical range helps to control and prevent their disease transmission, as they are vectors for a large number of tick-borne diseases. When a tick finds a suitable feeding spot, it grasps the skin and cuts into the surface, then inserts its feeding tube. It secretes a cement-like substance to keep this feeding tube attached. The feeding tube is also barbed, which helps keep it in place. Tick saliva has an anesthetic, so the bite and its presence goes unnoticed, and the tick keeps sucking blood for several days. It is during this time that pathogens may be transmitted from an infected tick or vice versa. After the tick is fully engorged, it drops off. This is a large family of hard ticks that includes several different genera and species distributed in various parts of North America. Many of them transmit human diseases. On the next slide, we'll go through the different ticks and the human diseases that they transmit. There are 2 species of black-legged ticks. They are distributed geographically on either side of the continent. Ixodes scapularis is found in northeastern and midwestern parts of North America, mainly on the north shores of Lake Erie, Lake Ontario, and the St. Lawrence River. Ixodes pacificus, the western black-legged tick, is found along the Pacific coast. Both Ixodes scapularis and Ixodes pacificus can transmit Lyme disease and another tick-borne disease called anaplasmosis, which is a rickettsial disease that affects the white blood cells, the granulocytes. Aside from Ixodes scapularis, another species of Ixodes ticks, the groundhog tick, Ixodes cookii, can also transmit Powassan disease, which is a viral disease that may cause encephalitis. Powassan disease is named after Powassan in northeastern Ontario, about a 3-hour drive from Toronto, where the first case was reported in a boy who died of encephalitis. Rocky Mountain wood ticks are found in the American Rocky Mountain states and southwestern Canada at elevations between 4,000 and 10,500 feet high. They transmit Rocky Mountain spotted fever, another rickettsial disease, tularemia, a bacterial disease, which we will learn about later, and Colorado tick fever, which is a viral disease. These diseases can also be transmitted by other ticks. The last group of hard ticks are the lone star ticks. Female ticks have a single white spot on their backs. They can transmit tularemia and human ehrlichiosis, which is a rickettsial disease that affects a type of white blood cell called monocytes. Lately, lone star ticks have been associated with severe allergies to red meat called alpha-gal syndrome. There are several morphological differences between Ixodes and other ticks, such as dermacenta ticks that include wood and dog ticks. Dermacenta ticks are nearly twice as large as Ixodes ticks. They have white streaks on their shields and grooved edges around their abdomens, whereas Ixodes ticks have smooth edges. When ticks feed, they change color and their abdomens become enlarged. This is a significant size increase as they fill up with blood and become shaped like small grapes. They're harder to differentiate at this point. As you can see from the picture, they can swell up to such a massive size that they're quite unrecognizable from the original unfed state. Soft ticks are found throughout the western United States and southwestern Canada, mainly in rodent-infested cabins in rural areas. They can transmit tick-borne relapsing fever, a bacterial disease caused by a different Borrelia species, Borrelia hermsii, to the one that causes Lyme disease.